All right, in this demonstration, I'm going to show you how you can install WordPress on the class server. First of all, what you're going to want to do is go to wordpress.org, okay, not com, but org. So there's a distinct difference. WordPress.org is so that you can download the actual WordPress installation and install it on your own server, whereas WordPress.com is a WordPress hosting solution. So .com is not what we're doing in this class. So first of all, what you're going to do is look down here where it says download WordPress and then whatever the version number is by the time you're watching this. Right now mine is 4.6.1 at the time of this video, so I'll click on that. It takes me to the download page and you'll see some different options. You'll see download, the zip folder or the zip file, right? And you can also download a tar.gz file. I'm going to click on that to download it, and it's going to go ahead and download. I'm going to skip through that and show you from this point forward so you don't have to watch it download on my computer. Okay, so it downloaded onto my computer in my downloads folder, or wherever it happens to be that you're going to save yours. And whenever it downloaded, I also went ahead and I decompressed it. On a Mac, you just double click it. On Windows, you can right click and extract. And this is the set of files that it's going to decompress. You've got a WordPress folder here, and you'll see that it has a whole bunch of stuff. I'll go into a bunch of this stuff later, but one of the things that you will notice, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we get into the install process, but you'll see something here called WP config sample. You don't see anything in here yet called WP config.php. You see WP config sample.php. Just keep that in mind for later. We'll get to how that's relevant later, all right? But I just wanted to quickly show you that there's a ton of content inside of that WordPress folder that you're going to need for installation. However, one of the most expedient ways that you can get this thing installed without actually, having problems with file transfer with individual files inside of this folder would be if you just actually upload the compressed version as a single file. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do that. So the first option that you have for installing it would be if you wanted to go to your cPanel. Okay, so go ahead and log into your cPanel as you've been previously given instructions to do. So log into your cPanel, and one of the ways that you can do this is by going to your file manager to upload it. All right, so click on File Manager in your cPanel. Okay, and then what you're going to do is go into your public HTML folder. Now, when I go in here, you're going to see that I've already uploaded it. Again, that was just to save time for this demonstration. When you go to yours, you're not going to have this there. So what you'll do is you'll click on Upload, all right, and then you can go ahead and just drag this file right here and it'll start uploading and it'll give you a progress bar. And when it's finished, it'll have a completely green bar that says 100%, and then you can click on this link that says go back to your public HTML folder. So I'm going to click that and it takes me back to my file manager. Okay, and so then by that time you'll see the compressed version that is uploaded. So what I'm going to tell you to do now is to go ahead and click on this extract button while you have the WordPress file selected. You'll click on extract up here. Okay, and it's going to ask you where you want to extract it. I'm going to go ahead and tell you to just extract it straight away into your public.html folder. So we'll click on extract files, and it's pretty quick on this server. Okay, and what it does is that it drops in a folder called WordPress, just like it did on my computer in my downloads. Now, if you wanted to go back in here, you could double click and you could make sure that it looks like all those files are there. And if you wanted, you could actually compare them to what was on your computer in your downloads folder. But there's probably no need to do that. Just know that every once in a blue moon, whenever you're uploading stuff, there's some kind of network glitch or some kind of upload problem. And sometimes your file doesn't completely get uploaded. Typically, that's less likely to happen whenever you upload something that's compressed than if you were to try to upload an entire folder through FTP. But anyway, so this is kind of a nice way of doing it. All right, so I'm going to go back up a level and we will look at what we've got here. I would suggest that you either rename this zipped tar file, or I would recommend that you just delete it. It's easy enough to upload it again. The reason I'm going to suggest that you delete it is because having WordPress stuff I'm just going to I'll just move it to the trash for now. Having WordPress stuff on your server potentially can create some security issues. And so one of the things that I'm also going to tell you right away that you should do is go ahead and figure out what you want this WordPress folder to be called. You know, you can leave it as WordPress if you want, but as a best practice, since I'm teaching you, right, one of the best things that you can do to protect your WordPress installation is to actually change the root directory name of it. Also, the other thing too about it is that, like, if you have a real installation of this, you don't want it to say WordPress. You want it to actually say something that is a little bit more helpful. For instance, I'm going to be doing something that's about San Diego places, right? So I could say that this is called SD Places, something like that. And if you wanted to put a dash, you could. It's just one more thing to type. So however you want to do it, this is what I'm going to do. So SD Places is what I'm going to rename my folder. And there we go. And it's SD Places now. So if you were, for instance, doing a portfolio, you could call it Portfolio, My Portfolio, whatever. You could put it as your name if it was your portfolio, whatever. Now, the other thing too is that one of the really common ways that you would have something installed as a WordPress installation is that instead of having to go to this subdirectory within your main domain, you would actually want the main domain to be what loads the WordPress installation. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we were to go to that website, right, in this case, for this semester, it's called matmcc.org for our domain. It might be something different in the future. But if we go to our domain, you see that it doesn't automatically load a website. It gives me a directory listing. And so I would have to go here to SD Places to start to get my WordPress installation. And it starts to try to walk me through the installation process. I'm going to go backwards though for right now. So ideally what you might want if you were to do this like for your own hosting, if you were to do WordPress for your own hosting or for a client and it's their main website, then you would have to basically put all of the contents of that WordPress folder directly inside of the public HTML folder. Okay, so so that you wouldn't see any of this, it would just automatically load, you know, this page. Okay. So let me just show you again real quickly what that would look like. I'm going to go up a level. So what you would actually want to do is take the contents of this SD Places, right? You would take the contents of all of this and you would basically move all of these contents up to the top level. All right, so anyway. All right, now there's another way that I could have actually done this. All right, so let me show you how you could do this through FTP. So I'm going to go over here to CyberDuck. All right, and I just have a bookmark already made, but I would connect through CyberDuck. And it automatically loads my entire file system, right? So I would go into public HTML. And you can see that I have this SD Places that I had just created. You know, I just uploaded and decompressed and renamed. But if we sort of pretend like I hadn't already done that, one of the other ways that you could address this issue is you can go ahead and take that tar.gz, or if it's just a zip that you downloaded, you could just go ahead and drag that over to your main location here in CyberDuck. I'm not going to do it because, you know, I've already got my stuff here, but you can take that over there and you can decompress it either through here in your FTP program, or you can also just go and do it through the file manager, which would be in here, right? So you could decompress it the way I showed you before. Now, one thing that I will also want to tell you is that I had referenced before, sometimes you might have problems if you upload stuff and sometimes files don't completely transfer depending on the server and the quality of the connection and stuff like that. The chances of that happening are much greater whenever you actually take individual files and you're sending them up not as a single compressed item, but you're sending them up as a folder with discretely individual items. All right, so the chances of you having a problem are greater if you do it this way. If you were to take this whole WordPress folder and drop it in like that, the chances are that, maybe some of these files wouldn't completely transfer properly, and if you end up having problems with fatal errors in your WordPress installation, then that could be because maybe one of your files like only partially loaded. Maybe if the file has 600 lines of code, maybe only 300 lines loaded or something like that. And I've seen that happen actually many different times on different servers. So that's one of the advantages of uploading via tar or zip file folder. But the other thing that you could do, like for instance, if you were just trying to upload everything, like all of these folders and files directly, if I were to, let's just go inside of this WordPress folder. If I were to select all of these, which are part of the installation, and we were not doing it in this class, but maybe you're doing it on your own hosting, or maybe you're doing it for a client's hosting. You could take all of these individual files and just drag them directly into the public HTML folder. And what that would do is it would make it so that whenever somebody goes to that domain, to the normal domain, it would make it so that it immediately loads the WordPress installation as the domain address. Okay, and that's a typical standard way of doing it, but in our example, we are going to have a subdirectory, sort of like I have with SD places. Okay, so those are the two different ways that you can upload your stuff to the server to get it in the file system, and that is going to be the first phase. All right, the next phase would be creating the database. So in the next video, that's what we're going to do.